Hey guys, welcome to Seller Sessions. In this session, we have Gil. Gil, do you want to give you a little bit of background on yourself?
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm really glad that I can spend some time with you guys and your listeners. I'm Gil. I'm from Germany. I've been selling on Amazon for about 3 years now. Um, Started two brands and also an online course and all that kind of stuff. But my main focus right now is helping English-speaking sellers to come to Europe. So yeah, that's me.
Excellent. So let's just break this out. There's a little bit more to the pie than that. You're like one of the leading podcasters over in Germany. You've got quite a large following in terms of Facebook group and stuff. You also run the excellent AmsCon Private Label Day, which you had me over to speak with Will Cherland and a few others. And you're an international speaker as well. You're coming to London, aren't you, on July the 5th, I think it is.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad that I can come to London, and that's true. I do some events, and this all started because when I started selling in Germany, because I started on Amazon Germany,
Yeah.
there was not much content all about it. So everything I consumed was from overseas, from America.
Yeah.
So I thought, might as well just start blogging, YouTubing, podcasting all about this. And it kind of grew organically just because there was, so much demand for it. So now it's true. I have this great conference once a year, which we've been lucky that you've been our guest and had that amazing that amazing talk you did. So that was really great.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit more about your business, because we're going to talk about ranking in Germany. So that kind of covers these key parts. So the agency, as you said, it's for English-speaking sellers, mainly from obviously the US, Australia, and the UK, and that's
Exactly.
like a full-service agency, yeah.
Correct, because what I noticed is that most of you guys speaking English, it's going to be hard for you to sell anywhere else where it's different languages.
Yeah.
And so most people from America, for example, they start to try England, and from Australia they start in America.
Yeah.
But then it's hard to get the whole setup straight for all of Europe, because basically you need somebody for France, for Spain, for Italy, because it's a different language.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why what I'm helping people with. Exactly.
Excellent. All right, so let's just break this down. So we're going to kind of compare English speaking, maybe US, UK, and Germany, and how that affects the way that it's done in Germany. So for external sellers looking to operate in the European marketplaces, we can just do some comparison to help them underway. So let's start with, what's the key thing? You start looking at the listing in English first. Do you want to break that down? What's the steps that you normally take?
Well, the first step actually is looking at the English listing. We will translate it, but not having the user in mind and the buyer. So we want to make a really sexy translation that fits the niche and that fits the target group. And we don't really think about, at the first step, we don't really think about keywords. So we're not that's what you said last time when we talked about it. We're not writing for a bot, but we're writing for the actual customer. So that's the first step we do. And then after that, we have a look at the main competitors of that specific product, the main 2 or 3, and we will use a tool and get the 10 to 15 most important keywords out there. Out of their listing, and then we'll put it in our new translated listing. So it makes it more organic this way around.
So we convert the listing. And then you're going to go after the main keywords, which obviously, like you said, you use a tool. Is there a particular tool that you use, or is it a private tool that you're using?
No, it's not a private tool, but it's I use it mainly for the German markets, called Analyze.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know if you know the Sonar tool, if they have that in America.
Yes.
But that's really great, because you can also use it for the same way. You can look at your top competitors and see what keywords they are ranking for.
Excellent. Okay, so when you're looking at your competitors, what kind of things are you just focusing on? Reverse engineering the kind of keywords that competitors are using, or are you looking more of a strategy based, and like the comparison between the positives and the negatives in comparison to the products you're promoting?
Actually, the strategy is for us is in the beginning. We talk to the clients, or if I look at my own brand, I look at my own brand and I think about the strategy, how I want it positioned, and the people who translate it. They not only good in translation, but they also understand Amazon as the marketplace. So they know how to write sales copy.
Yeah.
and they know how to translate. And if then I give, in addition to that, I tell them the vision of the brand and where it wants to be positioned. With all that information, they can write the perfect listing. But they need to have all this kind of information. They can't just do it with keywords. Then it's not going to be good.
Yeah, they lack the context. I think one of the biggest struggles that people have is that when you look at something in terms of an apples to apples translation, you're missing the cultural aspect, you're missing dialect, you're missing tone. There's so many different things that go into it, and you need to be an optimizer, you need to understand PPC, you need to understand how to weave in keywords to make them natural. So there are a lot of aspects that you would need to cover, because obviously a lot of people will just jump on Fiverr or wherever to do a translation. But there's so many more things that are involved in it, because if you do that bit wrong, that's going to have a heavy penalty in terms of trying to get any conversions, would you say?
Definitely. You will have a lot less conversion rate, like a lower conversion rate for sure. You can do that. I mean, of course, everybody can do however they like. But especially from the branding perspective, if I'm maybe already selling big in America and I want to bring my brand to Europe, I don't want to get it translated by Fiverr, because that's just not going to make me look good. I want my brand context and my branding to be good everywhere. So if I only have one product, I mean, come on, I can try it with Fiverr. But if I have a few products and I'm a bigger company, I don't want to do that.
Okay, so let's talk reviews now. Obviously, German culture's a lot different to the US as it is to the UK. Talk me through an average buyer in Germany and their reaction to how they reviews, their expectations and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, first off, they would be a little bit more technical minded. So if they go on the listing, you would still, of course, you do it emotional, but they would want to know about the little details. And then if they buy it, the German buyer would think it must be 100% perfect. That's just, when I buy something, it must be 100% perfect. So if he gets it back home and it's 100% perfect, most of them, like 95%, 99% of them, will not leave you a good review. That's just not how they think. They just think, okay, it's a good product. That's how it's supposed to be. That's it. But if it's a bad product, you will probably hear from them.
Yeah. No, because I mean, we kind of had that conversation. Is that I created a few pen pals. So I had a product that was a bit whimsical in the sense is that wasn't that it was a product that was in terms of quality is wrong. It's just the understanding of the product, and if you don't utilize it in the right way, then that can create a reaction, as I'd noticed. And so what I noticed about the German market is that they will go hard on you in terms of reviews if they're not happy. But when I made contact to them, it's almost I turned them into pen pals. I explained I was talking to them via Google Translate. They were quite impressed that I gave it a go in that sense. And when you're going back and forth with them, it ends up being like long reams of text. So some of these exchanges were like 5 or 6 mails. And
so they would like to give you their opinion for sure, especially if something is wrong. They like to do that, yeah. Yeah,
and so when you look and you're trying to solve their issues, you're trying to do it with a language barrier, you're being responsive. I found it quite odd to have so many emails back and forth, but 9 times out of 10, they'll change it from that 2-star to a 4.
And that's great.
And some of them would adjust their reviews to say, this is an update, excellent customer service, etc. So I think, like what you said, is that you have to get the product right in Germany because they will be fussy. So let's talk about the actual tactic of actually getting reviews. I mean, you have a private network, didn't you? Is that how you kick things off?
It's correct. That's how it kicks things off for sure, because you will need some reviews, and we all know that. Everybody who's selling on Amazon already, we know we will need some base reviews to just get sort of a conversion rate going. If you have no reviews on your product, well, it can work, but it's not going to be the best conversion rate. So I'll use my private network for that. And for Germany, most of the times 10, 15 reviews are more than enough to start it off.
Yeah.
And if we have that base of reviews, we will start with the PPC. And we will do a longer term launch.
Right, and so with regards to the wording, to asking for reviews, obviously we have to be a bit careful here. What kind of wording are you guys using? Are you saying to them, that you're not asking for a review, you're looking for product feedback, or is there some other terminology that you're using?
Exactly. Well, what we're actually not asking for is a specific review on Amazon.
Right.
We basically say, hey, here's our product. If you wanna test it, give it a go, and then maybe leave us what you think about it. Just write it back to us what you think about it, and not specifically tell them to do it on Amazon. But most of them know that when it comes in a box from Amazon, we would like to have a review there. So that's kind of.
So is your review network, I don't want to give away like trade secrets, but is your review network just something what you've built up over a period of time whereby it's a list and they're regulars in terms of each launch, and so you've got a relationship there? Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly how it is. It's a list that's been built up in the last 3 years that I've been doing this, and that's how it works. That's how it works.
And is there any things like, say for instance, you launch every 3 to 6 months? Can you use the same people for these reviews, or do you kind of try and rotate parts of the list?
If I if I do it on a new product, I can use the same. I use the same people.
Right.
I do it over a Google form normally, where I ask them, "Are you even interested in this kind of a product?" And then they say, "Yes, I'm interested." And then I put them in a separate list and give them all the details. I don't just fire it to the whole list, but I pre-organize the list. Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of you're trying to test the temperature of the water who's most suitable. So you're using Google Forms to break that out and get the information you're looking for, and then you'll target that small group out of the larger group from the Google form. Yeah.
Exactly, because specifically the conversion rate is also really important. So if I send it to 500 people, here's the link to my Amazon product, have a look, then the conversion rate will drop really, really down, and I don't want that. Even though we all argue about if it's a bad signal for Amazon, if it's outside traffic, but that's too much in the specifics. Yeah. But I'd rather have 20, 30 people come on the listing and they all buy it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It does. He's getting the targeting right at the beginning. So you go and get your first batch of reviews, and then talk to me about your PPC. Do you start with an auto campaign, manual campaign? What's the strategy there?
Yeah, we always have the auto campaign for sure. That's just to not miss any keywords. And then we start with a manual campaign. We have two tools. We use the tool Analyze again to basically filter out all the keywords our main competitors are bidding on, so that the two can actually show you what they are using PPC on. And also we have a manual campaign with just loads of keywords, which we use Analyze for, and the Zona tool as well. So that could be filled with 1,000 plus keywords. And if we have even more keywords, we open up another.
Excellent. And so that's the PPC end. So you're going to start the process. Once you've got some reviews rolling, you've got some validation, the stars are there. So you run the PPC in the hope that you get a higher conversion rate. And then, so do you do any stimulation of the algorithm in terms of you doing any giveaways, like launching? Yeah. So you've got like a Zone Blast type of service in Germany, or?
Exactly, genau. We're using ANZ stars for that right now. But we are in contact with there's different kind of companies that do it. Right now we're using them because they have at least that's how we see it. It's safe. It's totally safe by the Amazon rules right now. So they're up to date, and that's why we use that one.
So for them, it's pure giveaways. There's no ask for review. It's just stimulation. Okay.
It's just still, there's still going to be 10% reviews, but they don't ask for it. It's just how that just happens because the people know what we're doing it for.
Right, gotcha. Makes sense. And let's talk AMS. I mean, it's getting quite popular in the US. People are starting to move into the UK. Are most of your products accessible for AMS? You've gone through Vendor Central and set up? Vendor Express.
Exactly. Sorry. I use it for 2 of my clients. Not all of them, because I couldn't convince them so far. Some of them, they don't really get it. So I need to do some workshops with them so they understand the platform. But I use it for my own brands. For all of them.
And what are you doing? Are you setting up headline ads and listed against ASINs by doing product ads, or?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I use the headline ads actually work the best for me. Like that's all the stuff I got right now. Also, it's a really nice start for the funnel. So they see it all the way up, and you can think, and you can even steal sales from your competitors by bidding on their brand names and stuff. So it's really amazing. But also the product display ads, I use them as well. So I'm but I use them for products that other people buy together.
Yeah.
So if I see that some products are bought together with mine, I will definitely jump on that listing.
Yeah.
And of course, I use it for my own products, vice versa. So product A has product B featured and the other way around.
Yeah. And do you ever use some of your products to protect your own ASIN? So, for instance, you've got
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's the most important part, actually, because I don't want anybody else to stealing my sales.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And in terms of external traffic, I mean, it doesn't work for everyone. Talk to me about Facebook ads. How do they pop in Germany? Do they work?
They do work if you have the right brand and the right sort of product. But some people, they tend to forget. They hear all about Facebook traffic and they think it's really sexy. And then I hear them that they are selling, I don't know, screws. And then they are trying Facebook ads and they're wondering why their conversion rate is really bad or not even happening.
Yeah.
So you need to have the right product, but then it works. I know some people, I don't do it that much myself, but I know some people that are really successful with it.
Yeah, because I think what some people miss out on as well is that they've got to warm the audience up. They try and go straight in cold with Facebook ads and try and pitch to them and sell to them when really it's disruptive advertising. And I think some people forget that there's got to be a little bit of foreplay beforehand. And like you said, the product's got to be right. So we've got all these kind of areas covered. Let's move on to a contentious issue now. Let's talk email sequencing. What's the situation in Germany? The do's and don'ts, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, let's start with the bad part. All those amazing sequences that you can use in America, where you would write another piece of content and another piece of content, then ask for the review or the feedback. That's against the law in Germany, actually. So there's an anti-spam law, and if you don't have the double opt-in from your customer, which you don't have, Amazon has it, but you don't have it as the merchant. Yeah. So you're actually not allowed to ask to write more emails, just one, and that's the one with the invoice. You can send them an invoice. They're probably not going to open it because they're private buyers, so they can't use the invoice to get any tax back or something. Yeah. So that's really hard. A lot of people still just do it. They just go for it. Yeah. But it's not really. It's actually against the law.
Yeah. So basically, there's an anti-spam law. You can literally get arrested or fined for it, can't you?
Fine. No, you can't get arrested. Like I never heard about that.
No, I was joking. I was being over the top there. But no, you can. There is a fine, isn't there? You end up, if you get caught a number of times, I think there's a fine. Yeah, I was joking about being arrested. But okay, so let's talk cultural differences. This is really important now because we know that we pump our listings up for the US. Maybe a bit lower brow in the UK. I'm imagining the German populator very specific of what they want. So give me a rundown, give me a comparison. How would you do a title in Germany and compare it to the one in the US, for instance?
I'm going to go a little bit over the top, so it's understandable. Okay. But while I would maybe write in America, I would write the most amazing jump rope in the whole world, number one test winner of everything. Well, you wouldn't write number one test winner because we all know that's not allowed. Yeah. But just from the wording, you would tone a little bit differently in Germany. You would say it's a very high quality product. You know, you would always use the you would always use the benefits and not the details, but you tone it down. You wouldn't go over the top like you would do in America. Just because then people would shake their head and think, nah, I don't believe that.
Yeah. And in terms of how do the German culture or the German people like to read a listing? Is it something where they skip through generally, or are they very intent on reading every bullet point and descriptions? And are descriptions very important over there?
Actually, I think it's nearly the same. Like most buyers, they would skip through. They would just skim read a little bit, like they do it over with them in America and I guess in England as well. But it could happen that there's someone who's really intense and has a close look on everything. Yeah. So that could happen more in Germany than it would in somewhere else. And
I'm not sure if you know about this, but do you know what the balance is between, say, desktop and mobile? I mean, are you guys focusing a lot heavier in terms of optimizing for desktop?
It's over 40% mobile, actually.
Right. Okay, that's pretty good.
That's what I have. So it's big on mobile, and I'm thinking about, well, we're always having it in mind because as you just asked about the description, you probably know that the description in the mobile app comes first.
Yeah.
over the bullet points. So that's an important part. How you start a description. We always start that with kind of a slogan and a storytelling aspect instead of just saying the name again.
Yeah. And in terms of, we're talking about descriptions now, but have you engaged with enhanced brand content like the A+ style pages in Germany?
I don't have it, and none of my brands use it.
Yeah.
And the reason is actually I have one seller that I know that has the A+ content,
Yeah.
and one client actually could use it, but we talked to some people and they said that the conversion rate got higher was like 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
So if you have a 10% conversion rate, 1% of that, so it wasn't worth the effort actually to get that all amazing brand content.
Yeah, no, I mean, it can take quite a lot of time to sit there and really work and tell that story. It's like building a proper landing page,
Exactly.
which with all the research and the photography and everything can take a while to do. But I think there are some cases where people said, like you said, even in the US, it's either gone really well for them or there's been no needle. Like it just hasn't moved the needle at all. So. What about social media marketing? In terms of, I think you mentioned this, you do it as in terms of brand recognition. Talk to me about like the social aspect rather than the transactional aspect.
Well, I think that's what social media is supposed to be for. It's a branding. It works really great for branding, and I do that for one of my brands. I don't use it as a performance marketing tool, but I mainly use it for branding. So I actually, when I look at the numbers, I don't look at how much was the click or how much was the sale.
Yeah.
But I have a look at the impressions, and then I have a look. And there's actually on Facebook, there's actually campaigns that I don't know the name in English, but it's a branding campaign, and it tells you in the analysis how many people will remember your brand after the advertisement. So that's what I'm using it for mainly. So people know the brand, and more branded traffic will come to Amazon and maybe on my online shop as well.
Cool. And in terms of categories, if you compare them to the US, UK, what are the best categories to operate in Germany? Is there like any specific upcoming categories that you would suggest? Like is scientific a big one, or is it the usual stuff? It's pets, it's home and kitchen. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's pets, home and kitchen for sure, and sports and outdoor. That's the classics. Supplements has been closed for a while now. So one of my brands is a supplement brand, which it's quite interesting that no new sellers can come in right now. So that's It's good for us who's already in there. But other than that, the games are interesting here as well, because a lot of people stay home and play some games, not like video games, but like actual like board playing games.
Yeah,
that's interesting. But other than that, it's more or less the same than anywhere else. Like those standard categories are big. Baby works as well,
Mm-hmm. And do you have the similar kind of thing what we have in the other territories? Like somewhere like supplements is quite fierce, a lot of competition. There's black hat tactics. Has that been effective in Germany, would you say?
The black hat tactics, or you mean that's already really fierce?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, are you having that same issue in Germany of what you get in the US? Okay.
Yeah. It's a different market. Like my first brand was sports and outdoors. It's a fitness brand, and then I moved with my new brand. I'm in the supplement area, and it's totally different. It's a totally different ball game. Yeah. That's why I went for it as well, because it's really interesting for me to be on the peak with all the crazy people.
Yep, totally. Cool. That sounds good. Right. So let's do a quick top down again. Let's run through. So let's make it into kind of a checklist of what everyone needs to cover. So we go back to the beginning. So we discussed that you look at the listing in English, then you convert that to German in terms of bringing the cultural aspects. You're forgetting keywords at this stage. You're just really focusing on thinking about the end user. Yeah. Then you start to do your keyword research with the tool, which is called
Analyze.
And then you look at your top 3 competitors. So you're looking to get your top 10 to 20 keywords. Is that you're trying to? That's what you're looking for.
Correct.
Then you tap into your private network. You get the reviews. So you're looking about 5 to 10 to get started.
Yes.
Then you start with the PPC. So you're going to run with an auto campaign to scoop up. Manual campaign with your main keywords from the keyword research that you've done. Is that right?
Yeah.
Then you kickstart AMS for the clients that you have. Like,
Depends if they want to do AMS. Otherwise, just the PPC. Yeah.
Cool. And then you start doing the product launch aspect. You do the giveaways. You don't ask for reviews, but inherently you pick up some along the way. If the product is right, then you may consider running Facebook ads on it, as long as you've got a target audience that's warm. Yeah. You don't do any email sequencing over there.
I do.
Oh,
if
right.
the client specifically asks for it, of course I do it. Yeah. They just need to know, and that's more of a deeper discussion. But they just it's a risk and value thing. So you just have to weigh your risks if you want to go for it or not.
Okay, so we also know that we can't go too heavy on the spiel for the marketing, so we have to kind of pull back on there. Instead of saying we're the greatest on the planet, we'll just put things in there like this product, is very good, or it's been, we kind of try and explain it without having to kind of send it over the top in terms of the wording that we're using.
Exactly.
So probably the best word. What would you say is probably the best word for it is kind of not, it's like underplay it, if you like, is almost being humble about the product, would you say, but obviously being honest with the key points?
Yeah, humble is maybe a little bit too far. I would be afraid that some of the listeners will maybe now undersell their product. You should not do that, of course, but just not use those amazing over-the-top marketing words. Just
being factual, something that people can look up online and say that's actually a fact, or it's, if they read the reviews and they read your product description, the reviews and the product are in line. It's not just a lot of spiel that they're talking
exactly about. They would do a little bit more research maybe than an American. They're not as impulsive in their buying, so they would maybe check out the reviews, and if it says something totally different there than what you say about your product, they would not buy it probably.
Yeah, cool. And the one thing we didn't cover, responding to negative reviews. What's the best gameplay there? How would do that?
It's really good that you bring that up, because that's one of the main parts you will need somebody who's local as well. Yeah. Because the first step is, of course, always, if it's 3-star or less, that one of my team goes online and puts an answer online. Yeah. So hey, thank you for your feedback. Really sorry this should never happen. Be always open and apologize, and then give them the possibility to get their money back. And then in the back end, also try to contact them and try to, like you did, turn them into pen pals, more or less.
So basically, if you're on a desktop, people can see the comment underneath. You write the comment in there, apologizing, so anyone publicly can see it. And then obviously you're going to look up the customer. Is there any special tactics that you use? Like sometimes it says Amazon customer. Have you got a little technique to find the customers?
Yeah, we use the Celix tool. I think you have it in America as well, Marketplace Analytics. They have basically a link nowadays where you can, so it's not really a tactic, it's just in the tool. You can click it and then you can contact them.
Cool, sounds good. Yeah. Fantastic. Right, let's wrap it there. Have you got anything else you'd like to add before we go?
I think it's fine. I wish all the success to your listeners to learn how to sell in Germany and all of Europe. Yeah. If they want to have more information about me, they can come to commerceand.eu. That's commerceand.eu. So commerce and. Yeah, and have a look there, what I do with the agency. And I'm really thankful for being on your podcast.
No worries. And tell us a bit about is the podcast still active that you're running, or they can go back to listen to?
For sure. And we're going to figure out when we're going to have you on that podcast. So the podcast is a Private Label Journey. Yeah. So you can just have a look at Private Label Journey. That's our online blog and everything, that kind of stuff. So have a look there. And
brilliant. And an email address for you if anyone's got any questions.
Sure. That's Gil@commerceand.eu.
And how do you spell Gil? We've got to remember, we've got to tell guys here,
Yeah, it's Gil, Gil.
That's right, yeah. Excellent.
That's a special thing a little bit, yeah.
Cool. But look, thank you again for coming on today. We'll get you back in a few months' time. Maybe we'll do a bit of an update on Germany. I thought this one would be a good introduction to Germany as you successfully sell there and obviously run the businesses there. But guys, thanks for joining us. Again, thank you to you. If you've first time that you've joined us on Seller Sessions, hit the subscribe button below. Other than that, we'll see you next week. Take care.